Great news for California taxpayers as the Taxpayer Protection Initiative has officially been filed in Sacramento to restore Prop 13 and reverse billions in costly and unfair tax hikes imposed by California Democrat politicians. Coming up, we'll tell you all about the California Taxpayer Protection Initiative, what we're doing to put it on the ballot in 2026, and how you can help. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative. You know, California has the highest tax burden of any state in the union. And that means our cost of living is sky high. People cannot afford to live here because politicians are always imposing costly and unfair tax hikes on them. That's why there is a taxpayer revolt going on. We have an opportunity in 2026 to really turn the tide against the high taxes that we've seen in recent years. It comes in the form of the California Taxpayer Protection Initiative. This is a state constitutional amendment that would do a number of things. Most importantly, it would restore the power of Prop 13 from 1978. This was the landmark tax revolt measure led by Howard Jarvis that capped the increases in property taxes in the state of California and required that voters get a chance to vote on tax increases going forward. It limited the ability of politicians to just impose tax increases whenever and wherever they wanted. Well, over the past 40 years since Prop 13 was passed, California Democrat politicians and liberal judges have opened up loopholes in this landmark taxpayer protection program. And these loopholes have allowed billions of dollars in illegitimate tax hikes to go into effect. This initiative, the Taxpayer Protection Initiative that I'm about to speak about and walk you through, it will reverse all of that, and it will result in billions in savings for taxpayers like you. Now, up front, I'm going to give you the call to action. This ain't going to happen unless you get involved in the fight. No white knight's going to gallop in and save us. Even when Howard Jarvis got Prop 13 originally passed, it was because citizens all worked together, doing whatever they can, either collecting signatures or chipping in a contribution or both, and they all got it done. So if we're going to do it in 2026, we need to do it the same way they did it in 1978, and that is with a citizens' revolt. So I'm inviting you to be part of that. Go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org, and you'll find our Stop the Tax Hikes campaign. It's the top campaign that we've got. There, it tells you about the Taxpayer Protection Initiative, but more importantly, you can do two things. Number one, sign up as a volunteer to help collect signatures on this initiative. And number two, chip in a contribution. We need to raise about $3 million in hard costs to cover the initiative campaign. We have offers of matching funds from coalition partners, but we are not going to be able to do this unless everyone chips in whatever they can. Even $5 helps out. So chip in a contribution at reformcalifornia.org, reformcalifornia.org. Let me tell you about the Taxpayer Protection Initiative. The Taxpayer Protection Initiative requires a couple things. First, it requires a public vote on several different kinds of tax hikes. Right now in the text, we're looking at a couple different types of tax hikes that we would require a public vote on. For example, a mileage tax, a utility tax, exit tax, savings tax, car and gas tax hikes. In the Taxpayer Protection Initiative, one of our versions says that all of those would have to go to a public vote, that the politicians can't just simply impose them. This would stop the automatic increases in gas and car taxes that politicians are enacting. It would prevent these flat rate utility hikes or mileage taxes that they want to charge you per mile you drive. Another version of the initiative that was filed would ban property transfer taxes. This is something that's particularly costly for homeowners. In Los Angeles, in 2022, they passed a property transfer tax. Now, they started out by saying that if your home is sold for more than $5 million, that you would automatically pay a 4% commission to the government. You know how you have your real estate commission of 3% for buyer and seller? This would be a 4% for the government. So if you're paying a full real estate commission, 3, which is total of 6 for buyer and seller agent, that means with government getting 4%, and it does nothing in the transaction, by the way, it just sits there as the big fat bureaucrat. They get 4%. That means 10% of every home sold goes to someone else, not you. But the 4% is not based on your equity in the home. It's based on the entirety of the value of the home. Now, they start out with $5 million, but they're able then to ratchet that down step by step. And with home inflation, very soon, a lot of homes start getting up in the $1 million range. Right now, the average home in California is worth $1 million. They're starting at $5 million and a 4% rake, call it a rake, on the top. And we're talking about, in essence, destroying the housing market. And Los Angeles has seen that. Since this was implemented, it was only implemented April 1st, I know April Fool's Day, 2023. The property transfer tax in LA has resulted in a 70% crash in the market in terms of sales. And revenues have fallen as well. And so when you look at what's going on with these property transfer taxes, this is their scam. They say, well, I'm not charging a homeowner who's already in their home an increased property tax because Prop 13 doesn't allow that. No, instead, what we're going to do is when they sell, we'll take this 4% rake on the top of it. That is going to devastate housing affordability. It will plummet the value of your home. And of course, we're going to see government even see lower revenues because people are going to sit there and hold on to their homes thinking, oh, I don't want to give government 4% of the entire price. That doesn't seem fair. Property transfer taxes are the latest scam, along with mileage tax and savings tax and exit tax and car tax and gas tax, utility tax, the flat rate fee. These are all the latest scams. So what we are doing with the Taxpayer Protection Initiative is we're taking several of these latest scam taxes and saying, nope, you're not able to do it. The second thing that the Taxpayer Protection Initiative does, besides going after specific taxes, is it says that any local special tax has to be a 2/3 vote. Local special taxes were supposed to be a 2/3 vote under the Prop 13 framework, but the Democrats in 2020 got liberal judges to open a loophole in the 2/3 vote requirement through the Uplands case. It's a case in Northern California. The Uplands, city of Uplands, came to the court and said, hey, we don't think we should have a 2/3 vote for local special taxes. We think we could do it with a majority vote. And here's how. And the judges said, well, that's a great idea. Even though Prop 13, and by the extension of Prop 13, Prop 218, which made amendments to Prop 13, good amendments, voters were saying, no, special taxes have to be a 2/3 vote at the local level. The Taxpayer Protection Initiative would reverse that dangerous court decision from 2020. It would close the loophole and say, no, special taxes at the local level now have to be a 2/3 vote. By raising the bar, making it harder to raise taxes, we protect taxpayers at the local level. Finally, we have a version of the Taxpayer Protection Initiative that's been filed that requires honest ballot titles on every state and local tax increase. Right now, politicians hide the tax increases. They bury it in all sorts of deceptive titles and summaries and legalese. What we're now saying is anytime an initiative on the ballot, any measure on the ballot increases a tax, that the politicians have to explicitly say the words tax increase so the voters know what they're voting on. Those are the three things that we're doing with the Taxpayer Protection Initiative. Number one, making it impossible for politicians to impose specific types of taxes. Number two, restoring the full effect of Prop 13 by repealing the Uplands decision and restoring a 2/3 vote on special taxes at the local level. Number three, require honest ballot titles when voters are presented with a tax increase so that they get a legitimate, fair election. It's so important that we get this initiative on the ballot. We're going to need to get 1 million signatures before April of next year in order to force this on the 2026 statewide ballot. This is the same way we did Prop 36 in 2024. So I know we can do this. Collect the signatures, put it on the ballot. Democrats will lie about it. run all sorts of nasty campaign ads about it. But this is so popular. All the polling shows it's 70% support. People don't want to see their taxes increase. They want honest ballot titles. They don't want a property transfer tax. So let's get this on the ballot with your help. Sign up on the website reformcalifornia.org to be a volunteer to help collect anywhere between 10 and 15 signatures. You can do that. You're given 6 months to get those signatures. Second, please chip in a contribution of any amount, even $5. Heck, $5 is the price of gas. So put a gallon of gas in our tank to power the movement to save you money far into the future. It's a good investment to make. Also, we need your help to support candidates who will vote against tax increases. If we can break the Democrat supermajority in the state legislature, they won't have the 2/3 vote they need to impose a tax. Right now, every time the legislature wants to raise taxes, whether it's the gas tax, a car tax, an exit tax, a mileage tax, they have to get a 2/3 vote of the state legislature. Right now, the Democrats have a 2/3 supermajority control of the state Senate and the state assembly. If we break that supermajority control, we can stop the tax increases. Now, many of you know that in these ballot measures, it's not just qualifying it, it's protecting it from legal shenanigans. Last year, last cycle, that we had a Taxpayer Protection Initiative. We got 1 million signatures, and the Democrat liberal judges on the California Supreme Court, at Newsom's urging, took it off the ballot. Well, the reason why this initiative isn't going to suffer the same fate, 2 reasons. Number one, our lawyers have really tightened the screws. This version of the initiative has had a number of legal experts look into it. The 2 initiatives were drafted entirely by the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association. Very narrow, very specific, and it actually is within the ruling last year of the Supreme Court that took the original Taxpayer Protection Initiative off the ballot. So we're coloring inside the lines. But secondly, this time we're doing it with enough advance time to file a federal 14th Amendment constitutional case. If they try taking our Taxpayer Protection Initiative off the ballot, we can bring a federal case against the California Supreme Court and force them to put it back on the ballot. So we've thought through this process. That's why I'm urging you today, get involved early so that we can get this done. And that if any shenanigans are pulled, we will have time to go to court and literally force a restraining order on the California Supreme Court. So help us out. Chip in a contribution. Sign up to volunteer at reformcalifornia.org. Great news in the fight to roll back the insane tax increases that are spiking the cost of living in our state. Until next time, I'm Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California and a California State Representative. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state. Reform California with Carl DeMaio is paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly.